Oh, we
All
are
right,
live, boys.
we definitely are. Do we have anybody in the chat? Let us know.
Papa, do you hear me?
Holla back.
Let me holler at you.
Holla,
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 holla.
Let me holler at you. Holla. I can do that all day.
If somebody just got on now, they're like, what in the hell?
Hey, Mart Dog says, let's go, boys.
Yeah. Mart
fellow
Dog.
Looks like a fellow ginger in the house. Always a scary thing.
You know, the beard is deceptive because
I've seen people with red beards and brown hair. It's happened.
Yeah, it can happen. They're called weirdos. No, I'm kidding, Mart.
Heyo. All right. Let me get this thing popping. Gingers unite.
Don't tell them about our meetings. Headmaster Chuck Norris would not be happy.
It's true.
Headmaster Chuck Norris.
I just go to the meetings to see Isla Fisher. That's all. Anywho. You're like, who's that? Yeah. Just
Not
Google it.
Emma, whatever her name is.
Emma Watson?
No. What's her name? She
know.
was on what movie is that? She was on Superbad.
Emma Stone?
Yeah.
Not a natural redhead, I believe.
Okay. This is changing my life right now.
Just Google it. I don't think she's a natural redhead, if my sources are correct. But anyway, all right. I'm going to start in 5. Ready? Welcome back. DHH is live on Periscope and YouTube. If you're listening to this on your podcast feed and you're like, wait a minute, these guys are live every week. I can see their beautiful faces. The answer is yes. Go on Periscope or YouTube and search Dynasty Happy Hour, and you can click to subscribe. And don't forget to check out dynastyhappyhour.com as well. We've got some new content on there. The Gauntlet of the Late Round Wide Receivers by Chase Vernon, which takes a look at late round rookies that can make an impact. We've got a loaded show for you this week. We've got fantasy news. We've got stats and stuff. And our main feature this week is going to be identifying players outside the top 50 ADP that can jump to inside the top 50 in 2021, which is pretty awesome. So before we roll into any of that, I just want to say hello to my co-host. We've got the gorgeous redhead himself, Tyler Gunther, and the man beast himself, Tim Keller. I say that as a term of endearment, not a negative thing. The
honestly,
man beast, Tim Keller.
There is all truth to that name because this guy is a monster of a man, but yet he is a gentle soul.
I've calmed down throughout the years.
That's true.
I wasn't always a gentle soul, but yeah.
Back in
2017,
2017, he used to throw beer cans at fans.
I was not at that game in person. No, sir.
We all were, Tim, in heart.
Yeah.
I heard he threw a keg at a guy once.
Yeah, full keg.
One-handed. Just one-handed.
Absolutely.
3/4 motion.
Amazing feat of strength from the beast himself, Tim Keller. Boys, what's new with you? We're almost, middle of August now. The summer's coming to an end. Football's getting ever so closer.
24 days. 24 days I counted. I'm pretty
nuts.
sure my math is right.
I'm not going to double check it because it's probably right.
It's probably wrong.
It's probably wrong, actually. Yeah. So Tyler, what's new? What's new in Minnesota? I know we were supposed to be in the Midwest this weekend. Tear, slow roll down my face.
Yeah, that was a tough one this weekend. All weekend I was sulking, and my wife was super happy to hear me nonstop talk about how every time a plane would fly over our house, I'd be like, I was supposed to be on a flight. I was supposed to see my co-host, hang out all weekend. Like right now, we'd probably be hanging out with Dynasty Rich at his place. He was having a get together. But yeah, until next year, we'll hold that one off. But there's a good chance that DHH will be represented next year. Let's go.
Oh, hell yeah. Tim, what's new with you?
Not much, man. Not much. Like I think like you said, summer's getting ready to wind down. The kids are not ready to go back to school. But as Tyler said, the wife's going to be doing the homeschooling here. Told her I can help out with math, but if it comes to like English, spelling, punctuation, I don't know what any of those things are. So
forget about it. Yeah. It's a wrap. Nice. I know Tyler was down, and I said, "Can I send nudes?" And Tim said, "Always," and I did. So,
True story.
I mean,
100% true story.
so that's how we roll on DHH.
I mean,
So,
this is a good segue.
As a
into
matter of fact, we
Manscaped.
should just put that into
Yeah.
the Manscaped read this week. Just I'll share my screen. As a matter of fact, no.
yeah, so we might as well. So support for Dynasty Happy Hour is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the belt grooming. Now, they didn't really see below the belt. It was all above the belt. I'm a semi-classy kind of guy, but my chest was looking glistening. It was shaved nice. That Lawnmower 3.0 does an awesome, awesome job. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team spent 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created and just released the new and improved aforementioned Lawnmower 3.0. It's got a ceramic blade. It's not going to cut you. It's got third generation trimmer features. It's awesome. Skin safe technology, the whole 9, premium all across the board. The battery is going to last you up to 90 minutes. No, yes, the whole 9 yards. The battery will last up to 90 minutes, so you can have a longer shave. It's water resistant. You can use it in the shower. One of the coolest features, it does have an LED light. So, if you're about to get freaky in the dark and you're like, oh, I got to trim up real quick, you don't have to turn all the lights on. You can keep them down low and keep the mood always popping. They've also upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke. Love that technology. Mm-hmm. And they have a charging stand. So you can plug that in, pop it right in there, USB dock powered, easy peasy. If you're listening right now, I want you to experience it firsthand for yourself. Trim that junk of yours. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code DHH at manscaped.com. Your balls, you know what they're going to do? They're going to thank you. Oh, yeah. So absolutely. Let's get into some player news. You boys ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So we've got the big news for me this week. And I found this a little shocking. Alex Smith, he's activated off the pup. He's practicing. I don't care what happens for the rest of Alex Smith's career, if he ever starts another game, if he makes a roster, just the fact that he is out there, he's medically cleared, and he's throwing passes in practice is freaking phenomenal. And lucky for me, I saw this news and I was like, I went in my UDPL league, which Tyler's in, a bunch of other Dynasty podcasters are in. It's a super flex league. And I was like, you know what? I think Alex Smith is available. And guess what? He was, and I picked him up. And Tyler was like, "How is Alex Smith still available?" So Tyler,
I didn't look because
you were just a slightly behind the 8 ball. So should you be picking up Alex Smith in your super flex leagues, boys? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if he's there, yeah, for sure, he could be a starting quarterback in your league. And what's wrong with that?
He could be a starting quarterback for the Washington football team because we all know that I don't like their starter they currently have.
You do not like Dwayne Haskins. You've made it known.
Yes, that's a fact.
Not. What about Kyle Allen? Just kidding. I don't think he's very good at football, actually, but that's okay. So yeah, Alex Smith, I got no problem with it. If you're you're either dropping a guy off your taxi, moving someone down like I did, shuffling pieces around. If he starts a game, you picked him up for free. So you've already got a streaming quarterback in a bye week. So I like that move quite a bit. And I'm just happy for Alex Smith. He's worked his butt off. Football Ryan Gosling's looking great out there. And it's going to be quite the story if he makes the team and maybe even gets some playing time. It's going to be absolutely awesome. So great to see from Alex Smith. We did have
video. That video of him and his kids showering him with what is it? Champagne or hopefully fake champagne. His kids, maybe the mom gave
probably
it to
like
him.
Sparkling cider.
Sparkling grape soda.
Yeah, which is awesome, by the way. I mean, it's all sugar, but it's awesome.
It's delicious.
But yeah.
Cover them in Faygo.
That's a sticky mess. But
it would be.
That's just great to see. And even if he doesn't play another snap, just the fact that he came back and was able to walk again and be able to function and be able to play a sport again is insane. So that alone is awesome. So good for you, Alex.
Absolutely. So we did have some big contract news this week, and it's all about the tight ends. So George Kittle and Travis Kelce both received new contracts. Kittle was the first one. He got a 5-year deal worth $75 million, just a butt ton of money guaranteed. And then, I don't know, a few hours later, Kelce was extended 4 years. So he's got a total, I think, of 5 years together with Mahomes, which will bring him to his age, like 34 season. So that's going to be interesting. I'm still on team. Try to sell Travis Kelce in Dynasty if you can. I think we've seen the best of Travis Kelce. I think he's still going to be a good player for as long as he plays. I just think we've seen Pete Kelce. But with Mahomes at quarterback, that obviously is going to maintain his value. But I would be looking to move on and sell at close to his peak if I could. And then obviously George Kittle, we're all waiting for that big George Kittle touchdown year, kind of like we were with Travis Kelce for a long time. So Kelce was consistent between 80 and 90 receptions. He'd have the yardage, but he'd have 4 to 5 touchdowns. He finally broke the double-digit touchdowns a couple of years ago, and that's really what we're waiting for George Kittle. So, guys, I'm going to go to Tim on this one. Is Kittle your tight end 1 in Dynasty, or is it still Travis Kelce for you, Tim?
No, based off the age difference, it is Kittle. And with the injury to Debo, especially to start the season, Kittle is that yardage after catch specialist, which they attempted to use Debo in, and he was very successful at doing it. But Kittle should start the season off just absolutely on fire. So, yeah, he is my tight end 1 going forward. But I know we got this list of some players outside the top 50 ADP to end the show today. I know there's some younger tight ends, and I know Tyler's a big fan of a couple of them. So some of those names might come up, and those guys might take Kittle's spot here in another couple of years.
Yeah, and speaking of the Niners, this is a shout out for Tyler. They had Dante Moncrief in for a workout, but didn't sign him. I just saw the name come through, and I was like, oh, I thought of you immediately.
Hey, you too. You can't. I mean, I may have kicked you off the hill.
Yeah, I'm on the bottom of the hill. You're at the top.
Yeah, I rolled you down in the body bag. I'm getting into the body bag right now.
You're like when they find a body on Mount Everest.
Yeah, just frozen.
With a Dante Moncrief Colts jersey on?
Yeah, just frozen up there, holding a white flag, like trying to call it quits, and nobody saw me calling quits.
Yeah,
Doug. That was good. I mean, for all you guys not on YouTube or Periscope or Facebook now, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, Doug, really good frozen. I mean, I could have sworn your screen's frozen. I could have
went longer, but I had to let it go.
Lamp. You don't have a lamp.
Did you miss that dad joke? I said I could have held it longer, but I had to let it go.
Oh yeah, he had a ham in the oven.
I am here all week long. Yeah, they did sign. What they signed? Tavon Austin, I think.
Yes. Tavon Austin,
yes, they did.
And one more gadget guy, one more small speed guy, and you know what's going to happen?
JJ Nelson.
Yeah. Tavon Austin is going to go off like that. That's what's going to happen because it's Shanahan.
What did Dallas call him? Not a scat back. A
weapon.
They had a name for him, and I was just like, "This is ridiculous."
He was a running back at one point.
He was.
Yeah, remember he was going to get like 30 touches a game.
Yeah.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
In other news, so John Gruden on Marcus Mariota said, dazzling playmaker, adding, Mariota really fired me up today. Okay.
Can you say it in your Gruden voice?
I don't really have a Gruden voice.
Yeah.
I wish I did.
That's a tough one. But
yeah, it's not an easy one.
Yeah, I can hear it if that counts.
Okay, so how many years, not counting the years he was in the booth, have we heard Mr. Gruden just blow massive amounts of smoke
every year?
Anyone's ass that is willing to listen about his players. Everybody's the best. They're the greatest he's ever seen. He might write Donald Trump's speeches because everything's great. Everybody's awesome. Everything's just fantastic.
Yeah. I love it, big.
I mean, let's think about it. He loved Mariota coming in, of course, because it's a quarterback, and he sat down with Gruden in his Gruden quarterback room. Everybody loved him. But, I mean, Mariota, there's been clips that I have seen on Twitter where he's throwing some good balls. I mean, we all saw a clip today. We're going to talk about a player in the ADP risers. But, man, Mariota, if it's 20 yards or deeper, it's just like he's trying with all he can to get it right into the basket, and it's not happening because he has no arm strength. Derek Carr is the quarterback that has the arm strength. He's just
chooses
scared.
not to use it.
Yeah, he's just scared. I mean, after he's done listening to Papa Roach and My Chemical Romance on the sideline and fixing his eyeliner, he's got to figure out how to throw that deep ball. And Derek Carr needs to figure that out in order for these amazing weapons to pan out, which, I mean, these weapons show major athleticism. They're fast, they're big now, and Jacobs can catch the ball in the backfield. I mean, they've got the weapons. It's all up to that quarterback room. And I mean, if Carr doesn't get it done in 5 games, do you think that's probably the cutoff point? Like 5 games? All right, Mariota, you're in.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think Carr is going to be perfectly fine. I mean, Carr was just an MVP candidate just a few years ago when he actually had weapons to use. So yeah, I think Carr is going to be just fine. I think Mariota. I mean, if you're in a super flex league, I think he's an interesting like QB4 on your team, but I'm not really intrigued by Mariota all that much unless they're gonna. Maybe they use him in different packages kind of thing because of his athleticism or, I mean, if Derek Carr gets injured, sure, Mariota could be a thing, but I'm just not really sold on the talent anymore out of Mariota.
Let's be honest. Every time I see Mariota run, does he not run awkwardly? Like, I don't know what it is, but he kind of like...
He runs with his arms are kind of like all over the place.
He runs like he's shy. Like he's like kind of kept in and he's just like shy about running.
Just like his personality. He's a very soft-spoken guy.
That's completely true. But maybe being a Raider will help him.
Maybe just that stigma about the black hole.
Raiders.
Yeah.
I've heard nobody circles the wagons like the Raiders.
No, that's the Buffalo Bills. That's the Bills. Come on now.
Hi, I'm Tim, and I'm new to football. And animals and the Wild West. I mean,
yes. So while Tim is feeling challenged, I've been looking for a new challenge, which is why I'm playing Dynasty Owner Fantasy Football this season. Dynasty Owner Fantasy Football unites the fun and excitement of fantasy football with the skill and strategy of the front office. You can have that pencil in your ear and look fancy like a GM. Dynasty Owner is the only way to play fantasy football with real NFL salaries, adding strategy of running an NFL franchise. Dynasty Owner provides a unique challenge for diehard fantasy football fanatics. Go to dynastyowner.com/DHH. Leagues are forming now. That's dynastyowner.com/DHH. We've all been in leagues where the winner just got lucky. If you're like me and you know you're better than most, Dynasty Owner gives you a platform to prove it. Dynasty Owner favors skilled players who can manage their roster using real NFL salaries within the salary cap. It adds an entirely new level of strategy. Go to dynastyowner.com/DHH. Like I told you before, Dynasty Owner, start your dynasty today. And when you do that, when you start a league at Dynasty Owner or anywhere, upgrade the league today with a trophy at trophysmack.com. You heard it at the drop of the show. Trophies, belts, rings, and now draft boards for your upcoming draft. I'm having an in-person draft, so I'm going to get a draft board. I'm having it on September 5th. Use code DHH ring. You get a free $60 ring with your purchase of a trophy. Absolutely elite. And I'm glad I still have one league where I'm going to be drafting socially distanced, but in person. And it is going to be an absolute blast because I would be very sad if that was completely off the table.
Yeah. Yeah. My one draft that we're supposed to have for redrafts decided to do online. It was just because, a lot of us work in the hospital. We didn't want to take the chances. We'd feel pretty bad if one of us brought it to somebody and they brought it to their family. Yeah, so we just avoided that. But I mean, it's gonna suck. It's not gonna be the same. Last year we had it at B-Dubs, and it's so weird to even thinking about like last year being in a group without a mask. That's so weird to me, even thinking about it now. But maybe we're at the end. Also, fellas, let's talk about this this COVID thing. Watching Hard Knocks this week has lifted a hope in me. Because they were so good at detecting it and the testing was very good. That is way better than it is in a hospital. Like what they had there, plus the on-site testing that they just paid for and got, like that's
I was conflicted with watching it. I the testing, the cleaning, all that stuff was awesome. But then you see so McVay's wearing the face visor and then he's out there and he's like a foot away from everyone with no mask on. And I'm like, can we get some consistency? Like, that's all I'm looking for. Like, if you're going to be sitting 6 feet apart in a meeting room, don't be on the field like a foot from each other with your mask pulled down and you're talking to somebody. It makes it seem like it's inconsistent. That's
But
the only
then-
part that scares me. Because what if you have that guy that tests and he's asymptomatic, blah blah blah, and then boom, and then you're
So
like,
the best thing
crap.
about these tests and getting them on site is that they get them quick, and you can
I
get
know
them
that.
very quick. So if you know nobody in that area has it, boom, like you're okay. Like it's not like it's magically going to appear inside your body. So I kind of get that from an aspect
like baby Jesus.
yeah, it's not like that. So that's going to be interesting to see how they do with that, because like if they test before games and then they're like, okay, nobody has it, are they going to be feeling okay to be around each other without mask on? Which I don't think they should do. If you're on the sideline, still wear something, just precaution. But yeah, I mean, I liked what I saw. That's all I want to say.
All right. Well, that's going to lead us into our stats and stuff segment. It is time to play a game. Do you want to play a game? The answer is yes, because you don't have a choice. I'm going to give you the info for the two mystery players. Tim and Tyler will decide which player they prefer. If you think you know, you can always guess the players after you guys have tried to, figure out which player you prefer. I will reveal at the end who they are and their ADPs, which I'll have to look up really quick. Is everybody ready?
Yes.
Cool. All right. Player A. This running back averaged almost 21 touches per game. The first 8 games, they averaged almost 19 points per game in PPR formats. In the last 8 games, they averaged just under 13 points per game in PPR formats. They averaged 19.375 touches, averaged only 2.13 targets for the final 8 games. Player B, the last 8 games, this running back averaged 10 touches per game. He averaged 5.5 targets per game, 4.63 receptions per game, and averaged 12.5 points per game. Running back A only averaged 0.43 more PPR points per game, with 9.38 more touches per game over the final 8 games of the season. Running back A is taken 49 selections ahead of running back B. Which player would you rather have? Running back A or running back B? Tim.
I'm going to say I want to take running back A just based off the amount of touches. Opportunity should lead to production. I have a soft guess at player A. I don't really have any idea who player B is.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm gonna take the opportunities and hope it pans out to more production.
What say you, Tyler? Player A or player B?
Oh man, yeah, the touches really sell me on A, and he's 49 selections ahead of running back B.
Correct.
The thing that gets me as player B is he is definitely a pass catching back. He's a guy that you're getting the points from the receiving, which is always good to get. But Tim, this is the first time. I'm not going contrarian. I'm gonna go player A. It just seems like the smart guess. And I want to say it's David Montgomery.
Okay.
What are your guesses, Tim, for player A or player B?
I want to say player A is Josh Jacobs.
Ooh, you are both incorrect. Any other guesses?
Le'Veon Bell.
Ooh, wrong again.
All right. I'm
Player B, Fournette.
Is it Kerryon Johnson?
No. Are you guys ready? This is a good
Yes.
one. Player A is Nick Chubb, currently drafted at the 13th position.
I don't feel bad about that.
No, I do
player
not.
B. Player B is Kareem Hunt. Currently,
Wow.
his ADP is 71st.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, if we're going by ADP, I mean, give me a Hunt for the price at ADP, but anytime I can get Nick Chubb, yeah, that's a win. I'm very happy with that selection because Nick Chubb is going to run crazy behind that offensive line.
The last 8 games should have probably been a hint because
Yeah.
Hunt comes back from the suspension, the points go down a bit. Okay.
Yeah, and the 2 point, the 2 targets
Yeah.
for the final 8
Because
games.
Hunt took over the pass catching role.
Yeah. Now let's talk about Nick Chubb. What are our expectations? I mean, he's gotten 8 touchdowns each of the past 2 years.
I think he's in that same area again.
Yeah, and if you hear like the footballers even said, like he struggles in the red zone. It's insane how much he struggles, from the 5 to the goal line
Mhm.
when he's that big of a player. Like
It's kind of
he's
like
a power.
Fournette.
Yeah, he's a power back, but he's also got great vision. I think that will change. That offensive line was horrendous, and they have a revamped offensive line. They have the safest rookie tackle that I thought, and Conklin just bumps up. Like the 2 tackles are now bookend tackles. Like they are franchise caliber tackles. So I think that whole offense is going to be better. But they're with Stefanski, they are running. You look at Delvin Cook's success in the red zone with Stefanski. Nick Chubb's going to get that. Kareem Hunt will get some too, but I think Nick Chubb is due for 11 to 12 touchdowns this year.
Yeah, Tyler, you talked about the tackles. I want to talk about the tight ends. Not only do they have David Njoku, but they went and added to the tight end core there. So let's just say the first 2 weeks of the game, they get in those goal line situations. Just run a couple play action plays where your tight ends are sitting there in the flats, and it's going to keep those defenders honest, because before they would line up 2 tight ends, fullback. It was everybody in the field knew what was coming. It was Chubb up the middle. And so everybody'd go flying up the middle to just try to stop him, stuff him at the line. That's why he was struggling. So this year, I think that just with the more weapons that the Browns are going to, weaponize against everybody, I think it's going to lead to more opportunities for Chubb. So I agree. 8, I think, is the floor for Chubb. I think he can see double digits this year, though, for sure.
Yeah, I agree with double-digit touchdowns, and I think the ceiling with Nick Chubb is, I don't know, he could lead the NFL in rushing. He's that talented. And that would not surprise me at all if that was the outcome, especially in this new offense with Stefanski.
I think it'll be tough with Kareem Hunt still there, but yeah, I mean, he 100% has the capabilities to be the league's leading rusher. He's that talented, with no doubt.
Yeah, and like FF Intervention even said, Cousins only attempted 51 red zone targets under Stefanski. Stefanski likes to run it in the red zone. I saw it. That's why Delvin Cook had an outstanding year. Alexander Madison had some run, and Mike Boone. Yeah, I mean, if it's not Rudolph, it's not the tight end. They're running it, and that's what Stefanski likes to do. Keep it old school.
Yes, absolutely. All right, we are ready to get to our next segment where we are going to talk about our ADP risers. We got a high riser, baby. That's right. Little Dickie V for you, that are currently outside of the top 50 that we think by this time in 2021, they're going to be inside the top 50. So I want, I think I want Tyler to go first.
All right, that's cool. I can do that. Now, let's think of a guy that has the opportunity to be the one in an offense that is going to throw a lot because they're going to be down because their defense is not good. What as the New York Giants. Now let's think of a big play guy that the quarterback loves. That's Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton's athletic profiles as a 1 for sure. We had Garrett on from Dynasty Nerds. We had him on last year. And I mean, Tim, you remember that episode? We looked at each other and we're like, we need to go find Slayton where we don't have him. And we tried to pick him up because Garrett sold us on Slayton that night. And ever since then, it's been going up because Slayton has showed nothing but promise when he's on the field. Slayton is a deep threat. He is a contested ball catcher. He is a guy that can run good routes. What do you want? Like, what more? He's not going to see double coverage until he starts really ramping up his production, which I could see. But Slayton is a guy who's at 91 ADP in single quarterback, and I could see him hitting 50 or more. If he hits 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, which is not impossible, yeah, I think he's going to be top 50. And Slayton, I think, is my most reasonable player to reach top 50 that I have on my list.
I think that's pretty accurate. I'll go next. We talked about Kareem Hunt a little bit ago. His ADP is currently 71st, and he is my top player here that I believe can, he's outside of the top 50. Could I see him at the top 50 in 2021? Absolutely. This is a guy that's formerly led the NFL in rushing when he was a Kansas City Chief. We all know the backstory on why he got released, but seems to be keeping his nose clean in Cleveland, which is always a good thing. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, and that's really what intrigues me. If he can have a productive season with him and Chubb, and I think he can, if Kareem Hunt catches 60 balls, has 500 yards rushing, he probably might end up with 7 to 8 touchdowns. I think he's going to get a starting job somewhere when he leaves as a free agent. Maybe it could be a team like New England or, any of these teams that have kind of it could be Jacksonville if they want to move on from Leonard Fournette. It could be Minnesota if they move on from Dalvin Cook. Lots of different things can happen with these running backs next year as they kind of shuffle around with all these free agents. And I think Kareem Hunt, if he goes somewhere and he's the undisputed starter as a free agent next year and gets a pretty nice payday, like he is going to jump into the top 50 because I think the talent is there. We've all seen it. We've seen what he's done in the past. And obviously being the player B behind Nick Chubb is going to kind of keep his value a little insulated right now. But I think if he gets a starting role, which I think he's going to, he's going to easily jump inside of the top 50 next year. So I know I'm trying to buy Kareem Hunt at his current price wherever I can, because I'm anticipating that he is going to be a starter somewhere because he has a 3-down skill set and he's shown he could do it. And leading the NFL in rushing was just proof. So I'm kind of on the Kareem Hunt train at his current price in dynasty leagues. So I like him quite a bit. So Tim, you've got a second-year quarterback.
I do, and these are not. I didn't pull any of mine from the Superflex ADP, but currently Kyler Murray is going off at player number 60 in the DLF ADP. Kyler Murray, the Cardinals went and got him an alpha receiver there in Nuke. Last year, as a rookie, completed 64% of his passes for about 300 yards shy of 4,000 yards. So you add in an alpha, Lake Hopkins there. I think this guy is going to complete about 4,200 yards, 4,300 yards, if not more. He had 20 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. We see many times these guys struggle with interceptions in that rookie year. So I expect that touchdown to interception ratio to go in the positive direction on both sides. The touchdowns, mid-20s, if not break the 30 touchdown mark. The interceptions, he should drop that down into that like 7 or 8 interception mark. I think Kyler Murray is stock up this year. He's going to play in a very fast-paced offense. The offense definitely went to a run-heavy type of offense towards the back end of the year, but I think that was just due to the fact that, they loaded up on a bunch of rookie wide receivers last year, and those guys just weren't hitting like they hoped they would. So you bring in the alpha, Lake Hopkins. He's just ready to set and go. As long as Kyler and him start to link up, it's going to be nothing but stock up for Kyler going forward. So I could easily see Kyler being a top 50 pick in ADP this time next year.
So yeah, you talk about quarterbacks in single quarterback leagues and being at 60 and how that could be a little rich. Mm-hmm. I traded for Kyler in a home league. I gave up DK. I brought that up in a past episode because having a quarterback in dynasty league is like having that pillow that you just
that weighted blanket.
Yeah, the weighted blanket, a pillow, not a wet blanket because nobody likes those. No. But yeah, having a quarterback in a single quarterback league for years upon years that can win you championships like a Mahomes or Lamar Jackson is fantastic. So Kyler, you see Lamar or Mahomes in the second, third rounds of startups. Yeah, I could definitely see him hitting in the 50 in a single quarterback league.
Yeah, I'm not as hype on Kyler for redraft this year, and I wrote a little article about it, but I do like him in Dynasty going forward. And again, because you're going to have him for his whole career, and you see the upside that Kyler can provide over his time in Arizona. So I agree with that take, Mr. Keller. So let's go back to Mr. Tyler, who's got probably the list of his players. I think this is his favorite guy.
Yeah, it's the Hawk. Hawk. You gotta say it with a lot of throat.
Tony Hawkinson.
TJ Hawkinson at 103 is insane value to me. And he is a man that if he plays, let's say 60% of what he did week 1 when he destroyed the Cardinals, week 1 of 2019, man, Hawkinson is going to destroy if he is healthy. I mean, we hear Kittle talk about he is better than me as a talent. Like Kittle has said that. Kittle said, no wonder why people think he's better than me because he is better than me. Kittle is a great tight end. Hawkinson can be a great tight end. At 103, I think the fact that he's that low, I mean, you need to keep buying. Just buy. And like in sync. But I mean, Hawkinson is a guy who is like we have somebody in the chat. Is he okay now? I think he's fully healthy. We saw clips
I saw
of
his
him.
workout videos with Kittle, and he looked pretty good to me.
He looked very healthy. I think they're just being a little more cautious, as the Lions usually are. You don't hear much because that's not Patricia's way. He doesn't tell anybody about injuries. So
yeah, that's the New England school of coaching.
Yeah, since they are in camp right now, you're not going to hear much about his injury. But from what I saw from the video with Kittle, he's 100%. He's wheels up. Let's go, Hawkinson. I think top 50 is the floor for Hawkinson going into his second year.
And a side note about training with Kittle, this kind of went under the radar a little bit. I actually found it in one of my MFL emails about the players that you have on your roster, is that Dawson Knox was training with George Kittle in the offseason. So Tim, I know he's not on your list. He's not on my list tonight, but we are the conductor and the co-driver of the Dawson Knox hype train. So
you're up there on the wheel, and I am just shoveling coal right into that.
Yeah, we are just, that thing is chugging. There's caribou in the way. We're just hitting them. We don't even care.
Get that plow on the front, just pushing.
Yeah, we're just going. So Dawson Knox working out with Kittle gave me a little tingle. I'm not going to lie. So my second player, and I went out and acquired this player in a couple of leagues this offseason. I ended up giving up a 2021 first in a Scott Fish Run Capitalist Pigs 2 league, which is value-based. It's not necessarily pick-based. There's money attached to that draft pick. And I gave up a 2021 first to get Deontay Johnson. And in our Voxer chat, people were like, "No, that was a curious move." I am sold on Deontay Johnson. He led all rookie wide receivers in receptions with pretty much Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges at receiver. He led all rookies. I think he was actually top 5 in the league in yards per separation in the league. Now, Deontay Johnson's a guy that's not super fast, but he reminds me of like an Antonio Brown and DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, like not super athletes, but they have great footwork. They run super crisp routes. I'm investing in Deontay Johnson because I think Pittsburgh's offense is going to bounce back with a healthy Big Ben. And for all, everything that we've seen on Big Ben, it looks like he's going to be back and he's going to be normal. We've seen that this offense, when AB and Juju were both there, putting up over 1,000 yards and almost double-digit touchdowns for Juju, and AB had double digits. I think Johnson is going to be that dude that you can line him up all over the field, and he's just really, really smooth. He's really, really good. Matt Harmon's reception perception.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at it
very highly.
Yes. He's got, let's just say in success by route, he is green everywhere except the corner and out. And let's just say I don't think they use him much on there because his corner out was used 1.3% out of all of his routes. So
he barely ran that route.
Hardly used. Now his outs were 11.4. So it might have been the quarterbacks because you need a good quarterback to throw an out route. I mean, you need to zing it in there as a quarterback to get that ball into that out route. So that could be the reason. But everything else, green.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson, I think, is just a super talented player. I would not be surprised. We were all kind of digging DJ Moore after his rookie year. And then last year we saw him go over 1,000 yards. And obviously his dynasty stock is he's a top 5 wide receiver for a lot of people in dynasty now. I don't think Deontay Johnson is going to ascend to that type of level, but I would not be shocked if Deontay Johnson was a top 15 wide receiver at this point next year. Like, I am that confident in his talent and situation where I think Johnson is going to be a huge riser come next year and be easily inside the top 50. So I'm trying to get Deontay Johnson wherever I can while the price is still low. Kind of like, if you made the move for Chris Godwin before last year, before the buzz really started to build, I think Deontay Johnson could be that dude. There's some very, very smart people, JJ Zacharyson, Matt Harmon, that have been on him too. So I am definitely following that trail, and a player that I liked already. It's nice to get that validation of people's analysis who you really trust to kind of be like, you know what? My thought process is right. Like, these guys are validating it. So get Deontay Johnson in your league. He's currently his ADP of 82. I expect that to spike all sorts of crazy by next year. So Tim, let's go back to you.
All right, so I'm going to stay at the quarterback position. And in the normal non-superflex ADP, this quarterback goes off at number 63. So he's 3 players behind Kyler Murray in ADP here. If you go over the superflex ADP, though, he goes before Kyler Murray. And that is Dak Prescott, the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. Obviously, the hype on him has grown this summer. The guy has a 65% completion percentage for his career, threw for nearly 5,000 yards last year. And just let me list off his weapons he has to play with here.
P.S. This is coming from a Philadelphia fan, so you guys all need to listen.
Eagles Bay. Anyways, yeah, this does pain me to say these sort of things, but the guy's got Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CD Lamb is now in the house. Oh, and just there's this guy Zeke that's in the backfield who, in my opinion, is the only man that competes with Chubb for the best, actual running back in the league. And to answer PJ's question, yes, this is a bang. This is the Candy Apple Crisp bang.
That is a good one. I've had that one. It is very good.
So yeah. But as far as Dak Prescott, the guy was 98 yards short of a 5,000 yard season last year. We could see him with CD Lamb now in the building. We could see him throw for 5,300 yards. He could put up he had 30 touchdowns last year, 35, close to 40 touchdowns. This guy could be an absolute monster, put up one of those career type seasons. Obviously, I think it's probably you're going to pay a little too hefty next year, but I could honestly see him going in the top 50 of ADP next year.
I like it.
Yeah.
He is definitely set up for success. So Tyler, your next player I think is set up for success as well. Another receiver that could make that year 2 jump. Talk to me about Mr. Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of got Hollywood pegged for in redraft, I should say, pegged for an uptick. In Dynasty, I honestly think people are still skeptical because of the size. They think maybe he could produce this year, but what does the future hold for him? Because they're still looking at receivers. You hear them talking about bringing in Antonio Brown, but let's talk about reception perception again, because Marquise Brown scored fantastic in every single route except a comeback. Now, I don't think Lamar's great at throwing a comeback. I don't think that's his jam, but everywhere else, high percentage. Legit. Everything is green. And I think everything is above 60% in the percentage of success. That is awesome to see. And I think we all knew he was a great route runner. I think the thing that really pumps me up about him is him gaining the weight, because he was 150, like 155. He was tiny. And you can't succeed in the NFL being that small. If you're a small receiver, you need to be 170, 180, even 190. But man, Hollywood Brown is going to dominate. I love Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is the man, but they need somebody else to produce there. And I think Marquise Brown is going to be the guy. And honestly, I could see him. I could see him being top 50, but I think people are going to have trouble having him in the top 50, as in the size and, he's just a speed guy. I mean, a lot of people like to say that peg the speed guy. Fuller, we were talking off air. I was going to put him down, but there ain't no way Fuller's getting on because he's injury prone. And even if he gets like 1,200 yards this year and 12 touchdowns, people aren't going to trust it. And also people are just going to be like, oh, it's a speed guy. He had a good year. So yep. I think that's what Hollywood's going to have looming over him from year in, year out. But I think he's going to dominate this year and for years to come.
I like it. My next player is a tight end, my first tight end on the list, currently being drafted at ADP 129. Now, top 50 for me is going to be in tight end premium formats. I think that Irv Smith Jr. makes the jump this year. I think if anybody's set up for success on Minnesota in the passing game outside of Adam Thielen, I think Justin Jefferson is going to be a good pro. Obviously, rookie wide receivers can take a little bit longer. Irv Smith is second year in the system, the Kubiak system. He's going to get a lot of targets. He really came on late last year. I think Kyle Rudolph, he still is there, so he's going to eat into his share a little bit too. But they're going to use a lot of 2 tight end sets. I think Kyle Rudolph isn't going to necessarily be fantasy relevant, and Irv Smith is going to take off because he is the mismatch against linebackers. He's a smaller tight end, kind of like your Delaney Walker. He's only 6 feet tall. But he's got some speed. He can create separation pretty easily against most linebackers in the league. Got really solid hands. I like Irv Smith Jr. a lot, especially paired with Kirk Cousins and his accuracy. I think Kirk Cousins, he throws a really accurate ball. He's not too far off target if you look at his metrics. So I think Irv Smith Jr. is going to make a jump. I think this year he finishes as a fringe tight end 1 in your leagues. Now, going into next year in tight end premium formats in top 50, that would probably put him as a top probably 5 or 6 pick in tight end premiums. And I'm okay with that. I really believe in Irv Smith Jr., especially the system, the team, the coach, the player. I think it's all there for Irv Smith Jr. to make a big jump into the top 50 at this point next year. So Tim, you're keeping this one close to my home, and I love it. I almost had this player on my list because I still believe. So talk to me about the big boy down in New England.
Okay, so that big boy is N'Keal Harry. He is currently going off at number 78 in the current month's ADP. Now, I know historically first-round picks, dynasty first-round picks that don't really do much as a rookie don't have great history of producing going forward. But this is a bit of a different circumstance. He plays for a team that has a historically tough playbook to understand, even for veterans that come in there. He played with a quarterback that if you weren't on his good side, if you weren't in his little circle of trust, you weren't going to see targets. So the offense is still there. Now he's in year 2. The quarterback is no longer there, and they've brought in a quarterback. They've brought in a quarterback now that has had the most success of his career throwing to bigger wide receivers like N'Keal Harry. N'Keal is 6'4", 225 pounds. There's not much to talk about from last year because he only had 12 receptions. And PJ, yes, he can't separate, but Cam doesn't need a guy that separates because he looks for the big guys down.
Kelvin Benjamin couldn't separate anything. Maybe a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but that's the only thing.
N'Keal Harry's been working his butt off with the footwork king. And I think N'Keal Harry has been working a bit to work on that separation problem that he's had. So
Let's not forget he ran a 4.54. That's enough speed to separate.
Yeah, and with that body size, and we all remember what he did on tape. He was that I'm going to go up, I'm going to win the ball in the air, I'm going to come down. And in the preseason last year, I remember a handful of plays where he showed amazing body control, field awareness, keeping the toes in bounds, making great grabs on the sidelines, things like that. And then having the balance and ability to then turn and still get a couple extra yards getting upfield. So I have high hopes for this kid still. Let's not forget this guy was going on the front half of first rounds last year on our dynasty drafts. So there were plenty of people out there that liked him. I was one of them then, and I'm still one of them now. So I hope that N'Keal Harry and the Cam Newton combination can work out for this kid. Again, he's going off there at 78. So he's only got to climb 28 spots. I could definitely see him doing it.
Yeah, I love that call. I've been acquiring Harry a lot in the offseason, usually for 2021 seconds. I've been trying to get Harry for, and that's been working pretty good.
You got him for me too.
I did. Yeah. So I love Harry's prospects still. I think it's, you buy the dip of a first rounder. He was your dynasty 101 for some people. Usually didn't go past 105 in most drafts. So I think it's a really savvy buy to try to get N'Keal Harry for a 2021 second if you can. So I like that move quite a bit. So Tyler, let's talk Twitter hype train. You've got a player right here that's been buzzing like a swarm of bees this week. Talk to me about this Las Vegas Raider.
So I like his co-partner a little better. The one who was drafted higher, Henry Ruggs. I do like him better. So Henry Ruggs, but like I said, I think the whole aspect of being a speed guy is just going to bug his whole entire career, like a John Ross style. Like if John Ross was healthy, because he's a good receiver. John Ross is actually a really good receiver, but people just peg him for a speed guy. Now Bryan Edwards is getting all the hype. It's nonstop. He's got a hype man next to him, and his hype man has a hype man. So Bryan Edwards is getting all the hype. Bryan Edwards is making catches, insane catches. I think he caught one from Mariota, and Mariota zinged it in there. And Edwards just jumped over the defender, snagged it from him, and he even gave the defender a little pat on the arm, like, hey, nice try, bud. But Edwards, like I said, reminded me of Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson started off as the guy in the back burner and then came up above Marquise Lee, panned out 1,400 with 414 in Jacksonville. Bryan Edwards is a guy that I think is going to take a couple years to get to top 50. But if he is starting this year, he is Derek Carr's favorite weapon because he is Derek Carr's style of receiver. He is an out receiver. He runs ins. slants. That's Derek Carr's bread and butter. So Brian Edwards, if he is starting, he's going to be the guy, and they're going to use Ruggs as kind of that weapon. But yeah, he's kind of my flyer, the dart throw type guy. So I just went there. Even though I do like Ruggs, this is all hype train for me. This is for the people. This is a pick for the people. I do like Ruggs better, everybody. I don't want to go against my rankings because I do think Ruggs is a special talent. But Edwards, man, I mean, people liked him since he was 17 and busting out of South Carolina. So, I mean, he's got a chance.
I think he's got a damn good chance. I like Edwards a lot. I own him in a couple spots, thankfully. So I'm just going to sit on those shares and watch them grow like a chia pet as they get pricier and pricier. And I'm like, yes. And another guy.
Chia pets get pricier?
Well, you know what I mean. So I'm going to go with another rookie. I originally had a different player in this spot, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, could he really get top 50? Probably not. Let me take a shot on a rookie here who I really believe in, who's my second most owned rookie in all my leagues this year. It's Laviska Shenault. He's already doing some things at training camp. He's a little Twitter buzz as well this week. I've been on Shenault for quite a while. Me and my boy Pete Overzet. If you don't follow him on Twitter, please do. You'll always laugh. Love Shenault, as do I. Just a Swiss Army knife of a player. You can use him in the backfield. You can line him in the slot. I think he's got the speed to work outside. And if you look at the targets in Jacksonville, it's DJ Chark. He's the alpha there. But what else you got? You got Keelan Cole. You got Chris Conley. I know, Tim, no disrespect. I know you like Conley. And he had a pretty
wide receiver one.
Liked.
Yeah, he had a pretty decent season last year in Jacksonville. But I think Shenault matches perfectly with Gardner Minshew's game. And I think Shenault could be the impact rookie wide receiver this year that no one is touting as such. So I think Laviska Shenault could be a player that he's 105 right now. If he has a 900-yard, 8-touchdown year, like a Terry McLaurin type of year in his rookie year, Shenault to me is going to be a top 50 guy.
Yeah.
This is a guy, super college production going in. Obviously, the combine, he had that weird injury and he ran a 4.5 and change, and everyone's like, ugh.
He wore a baggy shirt. Like, you don't see that anymore.
He did wear a baggy shirt. Maybe he just wanted to slow himself down because he wanted to draft himself in his dynasty league. I don't know.
Maybe.
But I think Shenault is going to be set up for good things and just a physical specimen. On a previous pod, he was either here or on Trophy Time. I said my crazy comp for him, just body-wise, is Larry Fitzgerald. That really thick thighs, thick butt. Like, he's going to break tackles. He reminds me of Larry Fitzgerald in that way.
So I do want to say he does. It's like a nice wine pairing. He pairs very well with DJ Chark. Like, they are very well. Like, they complement each other very well.
Yes, I agree. So get you some Laviska Shenault before it's too late, and he's a top 50 player next year. So Tim, you are just singing to my heart with these last two picks. So you're sticking in the AFC East. Let me know who you got for your next guy.
Well, this is a guy that before the season started last year, I was like, man, this kid, I get it. He was a knucklehead in school, but man, what an athlete. He's super, super talented. If a team actually gives him a real shot, he might be able to do something. He went undrafted. He ended up on the Dolphins, and they had nobody else at receiver. So Preston Williams is on the scene, and as an undrafted rookie in his first 8 games of his NFL career, averaged 7.5 targets per game.
That's more than Devontae Parker, by the way.
I'm sorry, say that?
That's more than Devontae Parker was getting, by the way.
And Devontae Parker, to his credit, finally started to get some production as well. But they just got possibly the best quarterback in the draft. I mean, Tua had some moments in college where Burrow looked amazing this past year, but Tua for about a season and a half was very, very, very electric. So he could end up being the best quarterback in this class. You pair him with Preston Williams. Preston Williams could light some things up. There are some questions whether he's going to be ready to go right away, and that's fine. He doesn't need to go right away because fantasy players tend to only remember the last couple of weeks of a season anyway. So if Preston gets healthy, comes in 3-4 weeks into the season and just starts dominating on guys again, people are going to think, man, this kid is 2 years in, came in undrafted, and look what he's doing. Preston Williams is currently going at 111. If he comes in, plays, let's say, 12 games out of the season and scores 7-8 touchdowns, gets almost 1,000 yards, people will remember how he ended the season, and Preston Williams could end up in the top 50 of your ADP next year. I 100% say it.
To me, Preston Williams, if you look at the Preston Williams plays from last year, you're going to see a set of strong hands. You're going to see some of the best feet in coordination when it comes to being in the red zone or working the sideline.
I'm just waiting for the thick thighs, thick butt comparison.
No, not on him. But contested catches, Preston Williams is a man. And I love Preston Williams, and I own him all over the place. So, yeah, go out and get you some Preston Williams while the ADP is still relatively cheap.
Let's not forget Matt Miller, who is very smart at his job, said Preston Williams is a first-round talent, but has a undrafted character. So if he fixes character, he's a first-round player.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, Tyler, we're going back to the QB position, and here's a guy that, oh my God, I hear you talk about this guy. Like,
if he wasn't on Tyler's list, he was going to be on mine. So
I'm actually going to pair these two together. Since you guys only have 5 and I have 6, I'm going to pair these two quarterbacks together. We're going to go super flex rankings. Drew Lock at 90 in super flex.
I'm surprised he's still that low in super flex.
Me too. I have seen Drew Lock in the 4th round in many of drafts, and Justin Herbert at 118 in Superflex. I have taken him in the 4th round in many of drafts. I am all about Herbert.
He looked pretty good throwing into those nets in training camp.
He
does have a nice ball.
Mm-hmm.
Very. And
maybe even 2. Manscaped.com
is a sponsor.
Code DHH.
Yeah. Drew Lock with the weapons. If he fails, it's because Drew Lock is not good. Drew Lock, this is your chance. You've got unlimited weapons. I mean,
any one of us could be a top 50 super flex quarterback if you give us the Denver Broncos offense.
Yes. I can't wait for Aaron Rodgers to be the quarterback there next year.
See, that's blasphemy. So Drew Lock, he reminds me of Matt Stafford when he came into the league. Matt Stafford was a huge arm quarterback, had some accuracy issues, but I mean, if Drew Lock can fix his accuracy a little bit, which can be fixed, it can be fixed. Drew Lock has the arm talent, the 5-star arm talent that everybody wants, the tools to succeed in the NFL. He can make all the throws. It's all about confidence for him. If he can keep this confidence up for Drew Lock, like we all saw him dancing on the sideline and rapping on the sideline, if he can keep that, I think he's going to succeed. But the second you break his confidence down, we're going to see a lot of Deshaun Kaiser, as in interceptions, bad decision making, and
another
it's just
former Tyler guy.
And it's going to say, "Shut up." I was going to wear my Kaiser jersey tonight, by the way. So just to remember, Drew Lock. He's got all the weapons. He's got the talent. He just needs to put it together. And if he does, watch out, because he's going to definitely be in like the top 30 of Superflex rankings if he succeeds, because of youth, talent around him, and I think his draft position in the 2nd round was good enough for him to be higher up in rankings. And Justin Herbert, I mean, I think if me personally, I think he's a Josh Allen with better accuracy, and that alone,
I don't think he's got that arm. He doesn't have Josh.
He doesn't have the arm strength.
Yeah,
but he's got very good arm strength. It's not like nobody's going to hit Josh Allen arm strength, but Herbert's got a good ball, and he's got the arm strength to get it deep to Mike Williams, which we're going to see a lot in the future. Yeah, Justin Herbert, love him. I think he is going to surprise a lot of people, and he's going to make a lot of people regret not taking him earlier in Superflex drafts.
This isn't going to make anybody go, oh yeah, but Herbert's a little bit like Alex Smith. Very, very talented. He throws a very good ball. He's
smart.
He's wicked smart. He's more athletic than people give him credit for. And if he just gets in the right offense, has the right mindset, late career Alex Smith started to finally to excite some people. You know, the last couple seasons in KC, the season or two there in Washington, Alex Smith started to put up some fantasy stats that people liked having Alex Smith on their teams. I could see Justin Herbert being a notch or two better than that.
Yeah, he's 6'6", 240. Let's not forget about that. He's a big boy. So in that horrible, horrible LA weather, when it gets really bad there for the winters,
when it gets to the 60, oh, so cold.
Herbert's going to still succeed.
Hey, I just wanted to send out a PSA while you're watching Hard Knocks, which is on every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. on HBO with the Rams and the Chargers. Don't forget this name. I have a feeling there's always a Hard Knocks guy in dynasty circles. You know, it was Chris Hogan a handful of years ago. There's always someone that comes out of nowhere and like, this guy's making plays. And then the dynasty community starts to kind of get a buzz about him. And not a sponsor. That is correct. And that guy, to me, it's still Joe Reed. Because I think he's going to be the wide receiver 3 on the Chargers. I think he's their best speed option. And I think he could make some sweet music, and he's virtually free in your leagues. So if he's available on your waivers right now, go and look for Joe Reed. Boring name, but fun playmaker that could see a starting role in his first year. That is my most owned dynasty player. I own him in every single GD league that I'm in. I'm all in on boring.
He's a great flex option for you. Great flex option, and then he will do your taxes after the game.
Hey, Doug.
That's right.
Doug, let's not forget another boring name. Jake Reed, who is very successful.
Number 86 for the Minnesota Vikings.
Heck yeah. Very underrated. He was the third receiver.
That trio.
Chris Carter and Randy Moss. You're going to be the forgotten guy.
Yeah.
Boring name. Fantastic.
Yeah, so go and get yourself Joe Reed. I got a feeling that we're going to see some highlight clips of Joe Reed, and people are going to be like, who is this guy? And then they'll be like, you know what? I heard the Fantasy Father talking about this guy months ago when I told Pete Overzet that Joe Reed is the cheap version of Laviska Shenault. Let's go. All right. I got one more player. I'm going to keep this one brief. It's a bold take, and it's kind of more, it's part a anti-Tyler Higbee take and a pro-Gerald Everett take. So Everett's currently being drafted at ADP 206. Is he going to get all the way to the top 50? Probably not. Let's be honest. But Gerald Everett is far more freaking talented than Tyler Higbee. I am so sick of Tyler Higbee being the tight end 5, 6, 7 in Dynasty. Like, get out of town with Tyler Higbee and his small sample size. And he had all the opportunity because Gerald Everett was freaking hurt. Everett was gobbling up all the targets up until he got hurt, and then Higbee took advantage of the situation when they changed the offense a little bit. Gerald Everett is the guy that you want for the Los Angeles Rams. He's going to outperform Tyler Higbee. His stock is going to go way up. Maybe not top 50, but you know what? He'll double up. He'll go from 206 into the top 100 in your tight end premiums. He's a free agent. So another guy that the Rams aren't probably going to be able to afford because Tyler Higbee's making really good money. And Everett goes somewhere and gets a prime spot to start and make some good money for himself and show off that athleticism, because that 2017 tight end class with him, Kittle, all these guys are freak athletes. And Gerald Everett, and Njoku is one of them. Gerald Everett is going to be a smash at his ADP. I got him in Scott Fishbowl super late. I love Gerald Everett.
So we also found out Doug has a burner account, and it's PJ Keen 140 something in the chat, because every time Doug has said something, it seems like they're agreeing and saying exactly what this person's
I am not typing. I'm talk with my hands. You can see
burner account. Skip Bayless over here.
See, look, FF intervention. Find Joe Reed there. You know, he agrees with me too. Joe Reed is where it's at. So, you know, Yater's going to yate. Hater's going to hate. It's all good. Tim, why don't you wrap us up here with your last player on your player that's outside the top 50 that's going to jump inside the top 50 next year?
Well, my last player, again, AFC East. I don't know what it is. I'm in love with a couple of these players, I guess, but I finally went to the rookie pool, and Denzel Mims, 95th overall, rookie for the New York Jets. I absolutely love the quarterback he's tied to in Sam Darnold. I very much dislike the head coach in Adam Gase, but let's just say 5 or 6 weeks into the season, and all of a sudden Greg Williams is now the interim head coach. You know, we can all hope, right?
Again.
But Denzel Mims is what this team needs. He is Robbie Anderson plus. Robbie Anderson on the Jets, I want to say the last couple years was around the 750-yard mark. I think that is exactly what Mims' floor is in his rookie season. You want to see those rookies start to flirt with that 1,000-yard mark. I think that is easily done for Denzel Mims here. He's got Crowder and Perriman as his running mates there at the wide receiver core. Crowder's more that. Yeah, you don't want to sleep on Perriman, but we're now talking about his third team in the past, 3 or 4 years now.
And he's also like 48. So
and his hairline's 64. And then Jamison Crowder, I will say, Jamison Crowder is going to be that, comfort blanket for a guy like Sam Darnold. He's that guy that can work out of the slot, run the tough routes, and just find openings. So Crowder's going to get his. Perriman's also going to get a little bit of his, but Mims, I think, is going to be the guy that 3 to 4 weeks into the season, Darnold's just going to realize, like, this guy is my playmaker. This is the guy I need to look at. This is the guy that when things break down, I need to try to find him adjusting his route and just throw that, go get it type ball. And hopefully Gase allows these guys to do those sort of things. But yeah, I think that Denzel Mims has a floor of about 750 yards this season. Hopefully he can put a few of those in the end zone. But yeah, you're getting him in the 90s now. If he does that, if Mims is a rookie, let's say he gets 6 touchdowns and about 800, 900 yards, we're going to see him in that top 50 because that's a productive season for a rookie wide receiver. And I think this offense is set up for him to have those sort of numbers.
Yeah, that 900-yard threshold, I think, is where people really raise an eyebrow, and that's when they start really bumping up their ranking. So 900 yards, if you hit that as a rookie, yeah, I mean, you're going to be up there.
All right. Are we ready for our Dynasty Trade Calculator segment?
Yes.
With Mr. Tyler himself. Tyler, take us away.
We will make this quick, and I am going to share my screen, and we're going to show.
We had my burner account also asked, do you guys like Anthony Miller? He almost made my list.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been an Anthony Miller fan.
Same here.
So let's go to the Dynasty Trade Calculator.
Let's.
All right. If you guys aren't watching on Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, we have this up. We have it right on our screen. It's showing this is a 12-team PPR Superflex tight end premium. I have George Kittle on the block. George Kittle, nicely paid, tight end 1 to most people. What are you guys going to offer me for the tight end 1, George Kittle?
I got an idea. I'm going to offer you 2 2021 first-round picks. One mid. One of them is mid, and the other one is, I don't know, let's say 105 and 109.
Okay. Tim?
I'm going to come to you and say, Tyler, I mean, you got a really solid team. You look like you can contend for the championship this year. Let me sell you the only tight end that's actually better than Mr. Kittle right now, and that's Travis Kelce. So I'll get you Travis Kelce and a 2021 second. We'll make it an early second in 2021. Oh. You're in this championship window right now. We'll get you Kelce. He puts up the numbers just a little bit better than Kittle. I'll take him off your hands. You get Kelce and you get the second, and we move on from there.
I mean, I'm obviously going to go with Tim's because even if I want to, maybe I want to stream tight end. Maybe I want to go like Ian.
What
Thomas
do the numbers say? What do the numbers say?
We will pull Tim's trade first. So we will do Travis Kelce, which I am accepting. So put on Travis Kelce.
Not Travis Fulgham.
Travis Kelce and an early second in 2021. So 2021 early second. We've got literally one of the fairest trades I've seen.
That is spot on, Tim.
42.8 is George Kittle, and Kelce is 36.9, and that early second is 5.6, adding up to 42.5. So 0.3 off. It is an even trade for both. Tim, you get a little younger at tight end, and I get Travis Kelce, who's also got a huge contract, and Pat Mahomes at quarterback.
And do you know what you could take with that early second? This next year's class, if everything works out the way it should be with college football, is going to be a deep one at tight end. So you could get a stud tight end in that early second round.
So Doug, let's just go back and look at your trade. You offered, we'll just go a 2020 early, 2021 early first at 19.4.
Oh,
And
it's
then
not enough.
we'll do a, what do you think? A late 2021 first?
I was gonna say mid, but they don't give you the option. Let's do too early.
They do.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Do mid.
okay. So 35.7 was the total. And this is why this is why, Doug, we can't get a trade done for for Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor.
This is why we can't get a trade done.
You've offered me
So-
some fair deals. I just don't. I don't want to sell him when he's potentially the cheapest he's going to be in his career.
Yeah. But that is Dynasty Trade Calculator segment. Go check it out at dynastytradecalculator.com. It's a wonderful tool to use. It's not a Bible. It's just a thing you can use to help you with your trades.
It's a guide, much like you use your lawnmower 3.0 as a guide.
And
remember,
your UDK.
And your UDK. Remember to get 20% off and free shipping with the code DHH at manscaped.com. That's 20% off at manscaped.com and use code DHH. And please make sure to check out dynastyhappyhour.com. We talked about it at the top of the show. We've got some new articles popping over there, some late round wide receivers, which I didn't even realize that Joe Reed was in that article until just now. So I was like, sweet. That's pretty awesome. So I like-minded people. I get along with them pretty well. So yeah, that's going to do it for us this week. Great job, gentlemen. Next week, we should be talking about preseason games, but we're not. We'll probably have some Hard Knocks talk. What do we have on the docket for next week, Tyler? Have we planned that far ahead?
We have not planned that far ahead. So if you guys want to know something, just please tell us. Also, we got lots of changes coming to the site. We are really revamping everything. We got some cool ADP tools coming out that you can use. We got a lot of fun stuff and a lot of upcoming things you're going to want to know about.
Awesome. So keep your pulse on the streets of DHH because there's exciting things happening. That's going to wrap us up this week. Thanks again. For Tim, Tyler, I'm your host, Doug, and we will see you next week on the Dynasty Happy Hour.